Oh, I don't know what happened. I reckon I don't know what I turned, but apparently it was the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Wow, my level is okay. I was showing my level being down a little bit. Let me see. Okay, I'm good up there. All right, not too bad of a rough start. I don't know what the deal was with my. I swore I turned that one up. I didn't turn any of the others up. So anyway, like I say, it's I've gotten a little bit accomplished today. I got the website back up and working. Boy, was that a nightmare. But I still got the issue where the root site, the main site for that account, which isn't the WatchmanNews.com, a redirect keeps getting put on it, and I don't know where or why that's happening, but there is indeed a redirect that's getting put on it, and whoever and however they're doing it, they're removing the redirects that I put in place. At the bottom of the screen, you see where it pops up. It talks about ways that you can help us out. Gives you just an easy URL that you can go to if you wanted to donate, or if you wanted to purchase something off of Amazon, and use our link. It gives you a link that makes it easy to do so. And I don't see that popping up. Is that not? Oh, there it is. Okay. I don't know why it wasn't popping up. So anyway, down there is a couple of real simple links to be able to help us out if you want to. We could use it because I'm going to need to save this website. So by the end of December, I'll lose both the domain and the hosting if I can't keep it. And so that's why I have that little banner at the bottom, right? So if people want to help out. Well, those are what they call redirects. And the idea is, hang on, I've got a smoke detector going off for some reason. Where the heck is it? I don't. Well, it's supposed to be up there. Sounds like it's. Oh.
Okay, kiddo, you didn't do anything, but you were a good girl and laid down. Good girl.
Well, that was interesting. Whew, out of breath. So anyway, I don't know why it started going off. I went and looked around just to make sure. I just took the battery out because that's what you do. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Somehow, there's a redirect that keeps getting put on that domain. And, I think it's a redirect going to like a phishing site. But anyway, The links that are down on that little banner below, they work for now, I believe so. Let me, I don't have anything ready today. Let me duplicate this tab here so I can just easily, let me try the donate one. If I go /, here it is right here, it should redirect me to PayPal, which it does. That's what it's supposed to do. So I'll have to keep an eye on it, see if it continues to function correctly. The other thing's Amazon. Here, I'll show that. I'll duplicate, and then if you do the watchmannews.com/Amazon, it just takes you to Amazon, but it does it with our link. So that way you make purchases, then we'll get credit for that purchase, and we'll make a little bit off of it. Doesn't cost you anything extra. So, anyway, I like to have those there because it makes it nice and simple. Well, they keep disappearing. So, anyway, I've got a good one for you, Rebel, if you're there. I hope you guys don't have to go to the bathroom. If you do, well, I warned you. I could not stop laughing after I saw this earlier today. I just absolutely could not stop laughing. And so I'm going to pass on the laughs to you. Enjoy.
If you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands. If you've lost faith in humanity, this is your villain origin story. If you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands. If you've
I was dying earlier when I saw that. Absolutely dying. Okay, I don't have my tablet set up like normal. That's what I normally use to switch between one screen and the other. Anyway, I think there's going to be a lot of meltdown. I don't know that, I know there's a lot of fear-mongering going on about, things becoming violent. And, I can't tell you whether they will or whether they won't. Nobody can. But I do think there's still a lot of fear-mongering going on. And my hope is, and I believe this, we may make fun of the meltdowns of the left right now, but I think there's going to be a meltdown of some types of alternative media, even on the conservative side. And when I say a meltdown, I don't mean like in a crying fit or whatever the hell's going on over there on the left, but for the last 4 years, you have had a lot of, well, I won't say alternative media, I'll say independent content creators that have used each and every tragedy that they could find to try to exploit and manipulate people's fear, essentially, so that they could profit from it. And while there won't be any shortages of tragedies, because that's just the way it goes, I think they're gonna lose a spin that they've been able to have on it for the last 4 years. And what I mean by that is today, it really dawned on me how much better that I just felt overall. And so I took some time to kind of pull that apart, to diagnose it a little bit. because I wanted to understand why. And, in all honesty, and this is just me personally, but I didn't have a lot of hope in me with the situation we were in. I felt like this nation was stuck in a stalemate, and that there was no way that we were going to get a chance to get ahead, and that basically the only thing that we could do was defend ourselves from what they could do. And what I mean by that, take a look at what they did with the IRS. Look at how many small businesses closed doors up real quick because they can't do what it is that they're wanting. Not much. We started the show. Shortly after I started the show, my smoke detector started going off. And I couldn't remember where I had it because it's not up on the wall like it's supposed to be. Because sometimes I cook and that thing's a big pain in the ass. So anyway, I set it on a shelf. And because of my hearing issues and that it's such a high-pitched squeal, I actually could not find the damn thing. So I finally found it, ripped the battery out of it. It's all good. You did miss, you missed it, but there's no reason. I mean, it's worthy. It's certainly worthy. We can go for another spin. I don't see why not.
If you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands. If you've lost faith in humanity, and this is your villain origin story, if you've lost faith in humanity, clap your hands.
Oh man, I don't know if that is ever going to get old. Oh man, yeah, ours is usually pretty good, but there are some things when I cook, no matter what, and I'm not burning the stuff or whatever. It just hates me cooking. Oh, they are, and that's something, to be honest, that needs to be addressed in a real and honest manner. Sure, it's fun to laugh at. But these individuals are truly disturbed. There's a couple of people that, even on Facebook, that I've watched them just talk about their meltdown and how horrible everything in the world is now. Because that mean dictator, misogynist, racist, whatever, got elected. And I'm sorry, but if you believe that, there are two things that have to be the case. Number one, you have been completely misinformed for a long time. Probably at least the last 4 years. And number two, you really need help. You really need help. And I genuinely mean that. The reason, not that a lot of people from the left would watch this, but there's a reason why some of us have faith. And we rely on faith. And we lean on faith. That's why you don't see us go into meltdowns. Because we have a firm foundation. right? When you take away all the boundaries, when you take away all the walls, it's only a matter of time of roaming around before you get completely lost. And if you don't have any type of a map, any type of guidance to be able to get you back centered where you need to be, you are going to melt down. You are going to melt down. If you have no reference points to be able to get your bearings. And that is what the problem is with a lot of the people with the, and I'm going to say the leftist ideology. Because they've had people lie to them and tell them that there are no barriers. There's no such thing as barriers. And hey, if that's what you want to believe, you damn well have the right to believe it. But the problem is although you have the right to believe that, you do not have the right to make others believe it. You do not have the right to make it a reality for others. And then when you lose that bearing, and the only compasses that you have around you all have pictures of Trump and Elon Musk on them, you have to make decisions. You can melt down, or you can take a moment to reflect on oneself. Try to get some bearing. Try to find some kind of a foundation. These people that are injecting all of this nonsense into the minds of others are always going to keep you on a fluid foundation. Because the more unstable and unsteady you are, the easier you are to control. The easier you are to manipulate. And yeah, it will make you go crazy when you're banging up against one wall and then into the other wall and into the other wall, and you're hitting the wall so hard you can't see straight. Because all the bearings that you're being given are false. They're telling you you're going north when you're going south. And so it's really important to have those foundations, to have those bearings, and to build them on something that doesn't move. And for me, and I can only speak for me, the only immovable rock that I know is the Father. That's it. And so, yeah, I'll cling to the Father, because He's the one that keeps my ship righted. He's the one that keeps me going in the proper direction. I'm still a screw-up. I'm still me. I still make mistakes. But I can get my bearings. I can straighten my ship out and get back on course so much easier, because I have that clarity, I have that direction, I have that foundation. So I feel for them. I really do feel for them. But they have to want to help themselves. And until they're willing to want to help themselves, and there is not a damn thing that any one of us can do for them. What I would say is damn sure don't enable them. Either they can learn to color within the lines, or we let them screw up their own coloring book and they just don't get another one. Don't know what to tell them. You know, I learned the word no really well, really young. Because you didn't ignore the word no too many times with my dad. It didn't end well. It didn't end well. My dad was, you don't make them tell it a second time kind of dad. Sometimes, hell, it didn't have to be a second time. Sometimes the first time. I've said it before. My dad was an asshole. And he didn't have to do things the way he did it. But he did know he had to do something. At least he knew that. That he had to get us in a direction. He had to get us to understand. I don't know. What I was saying earlier is I think you're going to see a lot of content creators that are really going to, and I'm talking about even on the conservative side, on the right-leaning side. They're going to have problems keeping up the content with all the fear and all of that stuff. I really do believe so. Which is great. It's great for all of us, right? It's great for all of us. And checking out posts that were made. Okay, all good. There were some posts made on our local group, so been keeping a little bit of a close eye on things. They've been really good. This town is really good. Really, really good. Very proud of the people here. Well, you're right, Rebel, and the reason why is because they, like I was saying, they don't have that foundation. They don't understand that you can't just have what you want. It just doesn't work that way. And then if you don't get what you want, and this is where we're at now, if you don't get what you want, you can't kick and scream and throw a fit to make it different. And that's where we're at now. Now they're going to be learning that lesson. I don't think they're going to get the same, and I know that they didn't have a whole lot of reprieve, but they did have a fair amount of reprieve compared to what they're heading to this time. Because the right did rub it in their faces a lot back in 2016 and on through 2020. I don't know if the right's going to really so much rub it in their face this time. But I do think that the right is going to be a lot more firm with how they stand. And I don't think that they're going to be nearly as willing to try to appease. You can only push so much so far before the people start pushing back. And I would say the right put up with a lot. And I mean a lot. I agree, Leo. And that's one of the things I heavily encourage for everybody, the Serenity Prayer. Serenity Prayer is ultimately important, and not necessarily just for people with alcohol and drug issues. It's important for every single person that walks this earth. If I didn't use the Serenity Prayer, I wouldn't be here now. It was something that I had to recite daily with what I was going through. It is such a screwed up feeling to literally one day, not necessarily be living in luxury or, the good life or anything, but have your family, have your things, and at least thinking that you might be back on a road to set things right. To literally overnight losing all of your possessions, everything, losing your children, everything. You want to talk about being hard to get your bearings. It's real damn hard to get your bearings. The only way I did it was with God, reciting the Serenity Prayer, not just every day, but so many times every day. along with the words that the Father sent a good friend to give me. And those were to be still and let Him work. And it's been over a decade. I still say the prayer. I still remind myself to be still and let Him work. Still haven't seen my kids, never did get my stuff back. All I can do is put it all in His hands. You know, even a situation like that, I could melt down, but what good's it going to get me? And if I did melt down, you know what? It would be used against me. So, I don't know what to tell folks. You know, to those on the left, this isn't new. You know, it's the most ridiculous thing to hear the left talk about how much of a dictatorship that we're going to be under. Right? That we're going to be under. Well, let me tell you a little story. I guess Bush Jr. would have been president at the time, not that it makes any difference. But, you know, I've got a total of 3 kids. My oldest one's named Trey. And, I was still paying his child support at the time. And I was working doing pest control. That entailed that I drive a company truck. Well, I was informed by my boss that my driver's license wasn't valid. What? After the boss let me know, I got a letter in the mail letting me know that my driver's license was suspended. Okay, why? Oh, child support. Mind you, I was completely caught up. And not only were they taking the child support out of my check, they took so much out of my check that I went home with some $51 and change per week. Okay, that was what I took home after taxes and health insurance, which does me no frickin' good. Taxes, health insurance, child support. I went home with $51 and change for a week's worth of work. Now, with salary, I got the same every week. Summer months, I worked long hours. I definitely worked many weeks. I'd work over 40 hours a week. But winter, some mornings I could start at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'd be home by 11:30 or noon, right? So you give some, you take some, you know? So, of course, there was a court date that I could attend. And so I went to the court date, called beforehand. Believe me, we tried calling, we couldn't get nowhere. Oh no, you just got to show up in court. So I took the letter from my boss and, you know, paycheck stubs showing that I hadn't missed any child support. Everything was caught up and everything was coming out of my check each and every week. And I went to court and I put everything out. And the judge said, I don't care. And I'm like, I need my driver's license so I can work. I don't care. And he continued to keep my driver's license suspended. And as a result, I lost my job. There was nothing else I could do. That ain't bad enough, right? First time in my entire life, and the only time in my entire life, that I have ever applied for unemployment. Only tried one time in my life, and it was then. Literally, I was sitting in the office with my boss, my previous boss, when we did the, because they weren't contesting it, they wanted me. And they did the whole thing where they had the, more or less the state referee in between me and my prior employer to, talk about whether or not I was qualified for unemployment. And I was sitting there, and Rick was like, he deserves unemployment. He's a damn good employee. He didn't do anything wrong. We have no idea why the courts are doing this to him. It makes absolutely no sense. And unemployment denied me. So, I don't know what to tell these youngsters. But there has been problems for a long time in this country. A lot of them that need fixed, that need looked at, that need addressed. One thing that people need to say a little bit more, and I think if people point this out a little bit more, I think maybe it can get addressed. But the biggest in the history of mankind, the biggest wealth redistribution scheme is done via the family courts. It's child support. You tell me how it's fair for them to leave me with $51 and some odd change a week for one child. For one child. They wouldn't lower it. They wouldn't even talk to me. So I don't know what these youngsters think. Or, not all of them are youngsters, but there are certainly problems. There are certainly problems that we need to address. And Lael, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. There's a lot of stuff that needs fixed in this country. But we aren't going to be able to fix it by melting down. And we damn sure aren't going to be able to fix it by fighting one another. We're going to have to get up, and we're going to have to get to work. And we're going to have to stand firm, not back down. And just like the Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters, whichever way you want to address them, just like they showed up in force and put their feet down, a lot of us in a lot of different groups need to do the same. Men, instead of allowing what's going on, the demonization, I call it minicide. All of it together, I call it minicide. With what they're doing in the family court system, with what they're doing in society, public opinion of straight white male. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's not just white males either. And it's not just the United States. This is a global thing. I've got a friend that lives over in London. And, he's fought the whole child custody, child support thing. He's got children he hasn't seen. Dude didn't do anything wrong. He's a stellar dude. He's a vet. He is got a very lucrative job. Got his head on straight. He's got his shit straight. It's ridiculous. Over there, it's not as easy to have a firearm. Well, because of stuff, I think he's somewhat involved in the military again. I would have to ask him to find out exactly how it is, but now he's had a firearm. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I just know that he does have a pistol, and that it's not very common. And his acts, there's been a number of times that his acts just would say some off-the-wall bullshit, and they would be at his door taking his firearm, taking a deposition from him, and he'd have to go through the ringer and 9 kinds of hell to get his name cleared, to get his firearm back, to put his life back together and have normalcy again, for whatever normalcy that was. Mind you, he's still not able to see his child through all of this. So, I don't have a lot of compassion for the meltdowns, and sorry, but not sorry. There are people that have had the shit kicked out of them for in some cases, decades. I don't know what to tell folks. I don't. I've been keeping an eye on, change up the subject a little bit here. I've been keeping an eye on the numbers, namely the House. Right now, this is AP, 199 Democrat, 211 GOP. 218 for the majority. They're slowly, very, very slowly going through these. But if you take a look over here, oh, there's more. Okay, I'll go up the list and you'll see a hell of a lot more GOP that's leaning and not locked in than there are Democrat. So I do believe that we are going to get the House without much issue. And, of course, we already got the Senate. Won the majority of governors. And, of course, they're dragging their feet on the last 2 states there to give Mr. Trump the 312. So, it'll get there. Yeah, it is everywhere else too, Lale. It's literally just as bad everywhere else. It's crazy. Once you see that, it really brings into focus just what is going on. And you see that it is a part of the whole global agenda. They have to weaken the men. They have to get the men out of the homes. They have to weaken the men, make the women dependent. And they have control. And it works great. Works absolutely great. It's crazy. It's truly, truly crazy. By the way, Trump did name his chief of staff. And that would be Susie Wiles. She was the one, I believe, in charge of his campaign, and did an incredible job. I know when he gave his little victory speech, he tried to get her up to the microphone to talk, but she refused. Apparently, she's not a public person, so she refused. But from my understanding, she is an absolute genius. That's something that I am noticing that's different this time around. Trump is really surrounding himself with some incredible people. And I think what we're going to see happen in short order is all of the positions that he didn't vacate the first time around because he, whatever reason, I think he's going to clean house when he gets in there. And I do believe he's going to put the right people in the right spots. And I don't think he's going to take chances. I don't see him taking a lot of chances. So we'll see. I know that, of course, between now and inauguration, Biden and company are going to probably try to do every dirty thing in the book. One thing that they're trying to do is secure money going to Ukraine and all that stuff. And I think a lot of it's going to be for naught. I don't think there's anything that they're going to do that he's not going to find some way to undo. Even if it takes amending the Constitution. And I think that there would be a whole lot of people in the United States in favor of that. To put a stop to all of this. Two things. The giving the money away and the printing of the money to give away. Those two things. I mean, it's crazy. While the American people are bleeding out, it's ridiculous. We're paying the pensions of Ukrainian government employees. It's absolutely insane. So I have a feeling that a lot's going to happen this time around. And I hope I'm right. We'll see. That's all we can do is sit back and see. Let me see. What is it showing? I mean, that looks a lot like what I'm looking at with the AP map, except they just don't have them locked in yet. Wondering if there's something that's there that I'm not seeing. Oh, I agree. People are absolutely tired of it. Oh, yeah, most of the country voted red. Like, happens usually. I mean, I will not join a team. Not going to do it. That requires me to close my eyes to a lot, and I'm not going to do that. But for as long as I can recall, most of the nation's red. And it's really mind-blowing to me how largely it's the big cities. And really makes me wonder what's the deal. Is there a serious lack in education? I mean, there's got to be something that is allowing for people in these large populous areas. I don't know. The only word I can put on it is gullible. I don't know what else to put on it. I mean, you look at how the people are freaking out and what they're saying, what it is that they're saying, why it is that they're scared to death. And they fell for so much nonsense to get themselves to that spot. Why? There has to be a lack of education. There's a lack. I don't know what it is for sure, but there's a lack. I don't know. I've never even really lived in a city. I lived in St. Louis for like a real short time. Did not like it for a second. I haven't really lived in cities. I've always been smaller towns. I grew up just outside of town. I mean, we were a couple of miles outside of this small town, so I have a complete lack of understanding of what it's like to be from the city. And again, I wouldn't want to be. I don't, it might be somewhere to go look at and say, wow, that's pretty crazy, all the huge buildings and all, all that. I mean, I'd still would love to visit New York City. I'd love to go and visit. I don't even know if I'd want to stay the night, to be honest. And I'm going to be honest, I would love to go take a subway just to say I did, just to experience it, because I've never in my life, I haven't even been on the Metro link for St. Louis. Never. So, yeah, I would love to do it just for the experience. But today, no. No, man. For so many reasons. For one, regardless, when I step down on that platform, I'm going to stand out like a turd in a punch bowl. It's going to be obvious I'm not from the city. It's going to be obvious. If I am from a city, it's not going to be from there. Criminals know what to look for when it comes to people that aren't from there. Might be a little disoriented or trying to figure out where they need to go. And they'll take advantage of that moment. It happens all the time in places like New York City. Yeah, I never used to be bad at all. But now that I'm older, yeah, I don't like, I get anxiety a little bit in the cities and stuff. I did when I was younger. I think I had a death wish when I was younger or something. There wasn't much that scared me at all. Even stuff I should have been scared of. No. Now I look back at it and I think I was stupid. It's definitely stupid putting myself in those positions. Some of the stuff I did, you gotta be out of your damn mind. Stupid. But I didn't have an ounce of fear doing it. I wouldn't do it again. Anyway, I don't know. I think we're certainly headed in a better direction. I think things are going to get better, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm counting on that. Not just looking forward to it, I'm counting on it. Donald Trump's presidential win gave me the push I needed to keep pushing, because I was at the end of my rope, and am at the end of my rope when it comes to an income and stuff like that. Because what I geared myself up to do relies on a good economy and relies on businesses actually, transacting business, right? Because when you make merchandise for companies that largely gets used for advertisement. You need those companies to be doing good so that they buy your products. And then it gets a little bit harder when you work in what you call a niche, right? And, okay, so the majority of the products I make are cut vinyl decals. And that's a hell of a niche market, especially today when you've got all those super fancy looking stickers, and they are stickers. It's hard for somebody who does cut and layered vinyl to compete with that, because I can't do, actual faces in full color or what have you, right? But if you do a good enough job, you can still stay competitive if the business is there. Well, COVID came and hit and took a lot of businesses down, and we hung in there at first really well. We did, and I also build websites. That's the other thing I do. So, anybody's looking for cut vinyl decals or a website, let me know. I am literally counting on the comeback of this economy so that I can pull myself up out of a rut. And I'm confident that I'll be able to do it. I have to, again, I rely on the confidence of others, right? Because others have to be confident to start businesses or to build their businesses for the things that I do to be effective. So I'm looking forward to it. I am. I don't mind a challenge as long as it's not something that it's impossible. I'm just, running around chasing my tail on. As long as, whatever it is I'm seeking is possible with just hard work and ingenuity, and I'll work for it. I love a challenge. So I'm looking forward to this. I truly am. I'm also looking forward to doing this again, doing the news again. I think what I'm most looking forward to is being able to do news in a different direction, in an upward direction. The last thing I wanted to do was sit here and come here day in and day out and just tell you about problems. And that's essentially the only thing I could do for the last 4 years. And I think that's about to change. I hear you there, Midwest Silver. I hear you there. I'm hoping that one of the early things that Trump and company does is start to revert some of that tax crap from Biden and company. And I think he will. Because that really, those new tax rules really puts a hurting for starting businesses and small business. And, all the new reporting guidelines and all of that stuff. That made it so much rougher for startups. So I'm looking forward to that. The way that we did business, we didn't have to deal much with along the lines of taxes, just because of the way I had things set up, because of the way I did things. And, we were fine until Biden put in all that bullshit and started, putting in the stuff to where, like, PayPal has to report dinky little amounts. And what's crazy is whether or not I even had to pay, in some instances reverted back to the old law to where I had to make X amount to have to pay, right? Get this. Have to make X amount to have to pay, but only have to make less than 1/10 of that, and you have to report. And that's what they were doing. And so, I'm sorry, but if I'm not making enough money to where I have to file taxes, I'm damn well not going to report. That's ridiculous. What it was, and I said this back when it happened, what it was is COVID hit. So many people wound up at home. So many people wound up out of work. And a lot of those people, as Americans often do, became creative, and they created their own side gig. And there are a whole lot of individuals that did fairly well with their side gigs. Some of those individuals are now, that's how they make their living. It started as a side gig because of what happened with COVID. But there's also a lot of people that didn't make it big. Whatever it is, they're not going to make it big doing, but they make extra income coming in that helps, that many times puts them over that hump. And they had to stop doing it because every little dime that they get through Cash App or PayPal or Venmo has to be reported to the IRS. And so now even the person that made an extra $100 a month, now they're not even doing that because they're afraid to death to be getting that money coming in. I closed up tight because I didn't want to cause ourselves tax problems. So I'm hoping that we're going to see the way get cleared again. And I think we will. I think that's going to be one of the early on things that he does. I think he's going to fix that. Because that's one thing Trump wants us to do. He wants us to make money. He wants us to be able to succeed. He wants us to be able to have the opportunity to grow. That's one thing I'll say about him. There are things about Trump's business life that I'm not a big fan of. But the fact of the matter remains, he's made a hell of a lot more money than I have in my life. And you know what? I don't see him doing nearly the disgusting things that I see people like Jeff Bezos doing. People like the Walton family, the ones that don't care how shitty of a life their employees live as long as they're making bank, as long as each and every year they can rake in record profits. Those kind of people aren't good business people. They aren't the type of business people you want making the decisions or running the country. But there are good businessmen and women out there. They exist. And I think Trump is at least a fairly good businessman. And I think that, he does have a good intent. So we'll see. But I'm very confident with what lies ahead. There's a lot of fear of, watch out for this and that and the other thing between now and Inauguration Day. Or then don't live your life that way. Just my advice. That when I stepped away from doing the news, I still continued to watch and keep an eye on the news and keep, one foot in what was going on. But I really cut down on a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the videos that I had watched and stuff like that. I'd unsubscribed from so many YouTube channels. And I was so much happier, not even to have to hear the nonsense day in and day out. And it wasn't that it was always bad that these people was reporting this stuff. A lot of them, yeah, they do it because it's drama and they get clicks. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that that's the reality that we were in. And like I had said earlier, it's like we were stagnant. There was no moving forward or moving out of it. It was just stagnant. I think we've seen the end of that. I think we're going to go through a period where we can grow again. And I urge people to grow. And I urge people to grow and do so with such a firm foundation, with such a thick, hardy stem, that no poison that the left puts on you can bring you down. You got 4 years. 4 years to do that. And that's my hope and that's my advice for everyone. Is make each and every day of the next 4 years count. Build yourself up with something incredible. And build yourself an impenetrable wall. So that when that pendulum of power comes swinging back, it doesn't destroy you. Because that's a fact. The pendulum of power is going to come swinging back. Just make sure you're ready for it. Make sure you're ready for it. Now would probably be an incredible time to start listening to the Economic Ninja. Just saying, if that's your thing. It's not my thing. But I know the man knows what he's talking about. And he's good at what he does. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of reasons why others are scared. And a lot of it stems around the whole misinformation thing. Some of it is because they realize there's been a reckoning. So, various reasons, but we can't let that prevent us from doing what has to be done. So I think, like I said, I think the last time around, there were a lot of people that kind of, they may not have necessarily been, enabling others, but they weren't necessarily putting a firm foot down either. So this time, I think it's probably a good idea to put that firm foot down. Anyway, I am gonna mosey on out of here and get some rest. I am still tired. And, over the next couple of days, I'll be able to get myself back rested up and, raring to go, I hope. I will work on the website, a little bit here and there. I'm not gonna kill myself on it. But right now it is like as blank of a blank slate as it can get. It's brand new, fresh out of the box. And I'll work on it. So hopefully I can get everything secured so that it doesn't go bye-bye in a month's time. Anyway, it is what it is. I I will talk to you all on Sunday. So, because it's Thursday night, I will be back Sunday night. I hope all of you are well until then. And relax. Relax. Don't, never stop being vigilant. Never put your guard down. But at the same time, relax. Looks like we got some positive days ahead. I know we can all use it. There you go. Yeah, you're gonna love his books, brother. You are gonna love them. Anyway, I am out of here. I will catch you all Sunday night. Shalom.